welcome, guys, and thank you all for joining us. Let's hear it for yourselves. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Also, let's hear it for Mr. SP the Ghost right here. Legend, legend, legend. But you guys are here at Wine and Hip Hop Podcast. We are hosting this live tonight. This is a very special and rare occasion for so many reasons. We started hosting this podcast live actually during the pandemic online. Shout out to my man Dave East. He was our first live guest. And here we are, post-pandemic, in the flesh, here chopping it up with y'all with another amazing artist, man, Mr. Styles P the Ghost. Thank you, man.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. What up, y'all? Love is love.
Yes, yes. So, I'm going to hit y'all with my regular intro, and then we're going to get into the podcast. So, we are recording this, and so everybody, probably at the end of the week or so is going to hear y'all. Y'all should definitely make y'all presence felt. Tonight you guys are a part of the show. You will be drinking what Styles and I are drinking. You are going to taste the pairing, and I want to hear from y'all also. So, definitely make your presence felt. Clap, laugh, cry, all that. You know what I mean? So, without further ado, welcome to Wine and Hip Hop, and welcome Mr. Styles P.
Love is love.
Yes, yes. So, it's gonna be a dope interview, y'all. It's gonna be a great one. We are extremely privileged to have you on the show, and to also just have you in this game. All the contributions that you've made. When you think about your contribution to hip hop, you think about the locks actually living off experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, real talk. So I grew up in hip hop. I've gotten so many jewels from your music. Now I feel like there's a bar that you said in Niggas Done Started Something. Sitting at the table planning, plug the fan in, let the sweat dry off, and then grab the cannon. You know what I'm saying? Now that line is about patience and calming yourself down in the moment and not reacting in the heat of the moment. Now, but I think about you as an artist, and like Styles, y'all know Styles P, the hardest rapper out. Like, that was what it, that was how he meant it. But now I look at your growth as a businessman, as an entrepreneur in this game, from Niggas Done Started Something all the way back in '98. Now, can you talk about your growth from that guy to this guy here now?
As you get older, you mature, you get wiser. If you're not growing, I guess at one point in time in my life that, sometimes your past makes you who you are in the present and directs where you're going in your future. So I always work on reflecting back on the old me and seeing what I could do to be a better me. When you become a father, a family man, a husband, you start thinking about how you could become better. And as you work on how to become better, that's an everyday thing, and practice makes perfect. So I never looked at it until a few years ago when people kept approaching me, hey, we love your growth, we love your growth. I feel like in life we all supposed to just keep growing and try to be a better person. I've been fortunate enough to be in hip hop throughout my life, and it brought me to other stages that I didn't see coming for myself. Like, I didn't see me owning juice bars and a pharmacy for life, becoming an author, certain things. But as you start noticing you're growing and you're changing, you're supposed to embrace it, keep working on it. That'll probably be something I work on to the day I'm in the dirt. You know what I mean? You're supposed to want to grow. You don't want to keep going through the same bullshit you've been through in the past. You want to advance, know that you're going to go through some things, but do the best you can to become a better individual.
Yeah. What are some of the, can you kind of pinpoint a specific moment where you was like, yo, you know what? Like, for example, with health, for example, especially now, the fact that being a vegan is such a big part of your lifestyle. Like, what was the turning point moment that was like, yo, you know what?
It was like a few moments in one. I'm fortunate enough to have a great wife that was concerned about the way I'm eating and what I'm doing on the road and getting home and make sure I eat correct. Then I was also, I looked at it as I was privileged enough from hip hop to move to an affluent neighborhood. And then when I moved to an affluent neighborhood, I noticed the difference in the groceries, the supermarkets, the schools, the places you go. So it made me kind of look at it in a sense of that where I'm from, we don't look at health in a certain way. We look at it like it's for rich people. Even in black communities, I felt like we looked at it as like for the, the rosters do the health and everybody else is just on the side. So I started looking at it from a different point of view of saying, I'm fortunate enough to have people who care for me. I'm fortunate enough to see the difference in the supermarkets where I'm from. And I also was passionate about making a change for myself. And going to the juice bar, I noticed, was changing me for a better, changing me for the better. So I started becoming really passionate about just looking at life from that POV also.
Yeah, I mean, it's major. I gotta say, and like, so with you changing your lifestyle like that, and this is something I see a lot also with wine. Me trying to put my homeboys onto wine. Some of my people's like fall right into it, but I definitely have some brothers that's just not with it whatsoever. So like, do you experience any pushback like that with like your circle?
I think everybody experiences pushback, but it's how you accept the pushback. People are always pushed back into something they're not immediately on or informed in. So you have to lead by example and not really worry about the pushback. Almost everything you do in life, you're going to get pushback, but if you let that control you and how you go about things, that'll stagnate you and get in the way you want to get. So I'm not the type of guy to really worry about pushback. I'm worried about me pushing forward instead of worrying about you pushing back. And if I push forward enough, you're going to recognize it, and then you're going to want to push forward too or join me in pushing forward. That's how I pretty much look at all aspects of life.
That's wild. So, and when did you start the juice bar?
I want to say 13 years ago now.
13 years. So that's real, man. And that was really, man. Y'all clap for that, man. Y'all got to salute. Because here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. You also got to think back, like, this is all good right now, right? But that wasn't really what the wave was at that time.
Not at all.
Like, what was that like getting that going?
Well, it's when you know something is right and you believe in it, you're supposed to do it. So, like I said, like, that's a part of a big reason me not falling into people, against the pushback. Because if you lead by example, like when shout out to my partners, Nigel and Juice Lee. When we opened the first one, we didn't see us open multiple. We was just working on changing right there and advancing. But through us believing in what we're doing, and when you put people pushing back out of your mind and you just work on pushing forward, it seems to pan out because a lot of homies wasn't with it. Like, that was the last thing. But I was with it because, doing my first album, I ended up going to the county pen for about 10 months. I knew I was very intelligent, but had to figure out why rage, my ego, my pride would take over. I had to come to the conclusion it had something to do with how I was, the neighborhood I was raised in, having a chemical imbalance. Had to figure things out on my own. So once I got to that point and then seeing how things are operated in affluent neighborhoods, it kind of all hit me at once and said, this is the formula. And plus there was, greater men than myself that already led the way. We God bless the dead, Dr. Zebby, God bless the dead, Dick Gregory. This information was already out. Yeah. I'm not the creator of the information. Right. I'm not the creator of fruits and veggies, herbs and oils, but I did have the opportunity with being in hip hop to say I could either use my voice for something I believe in and be willing to go against the grain, take the pushback and just keep pushing forward, or I could keep silent and just watch what I know shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So it's like, yo, bro, like you look around, especially if you come from a poor neighborhood, you look around, you see nothing but McDonald's. I mean, not to knock McDonald's, but pizza shops, Chinese food, liquor stores, Burger Kings, Wendy's. You don't see a lot of holistic food spots. You don't see a lot of juice bars. You don't see, but when you go to the more affluent neighborhoods, you don't see that as much. Like they're there, but it's not as much. Right. So kind of putting two and two together said, all right, if there's nothing wrong with if you want to do that, but what about the balance part? So it was really on starting to work on just being balanced and understand, all right, you may be on a road, you may have a fast food Monday and Tuesday, right, but you could balance that out Wednesday and Thursday if you want to take that approach. So that was really the mindset.
It's ill because, like, it's not even like you're just, taking that lifestyle on, and not even that you're just spreading it to your community, but you're also really taking it to the next level and seeing that, the more of a bullhorn that you shout this from, the better off it'll be. So I saw the collaboration with you and Daniel Ohm from 11 Madison Park.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I clap on that one too. Yeah. That's pretty major. That's pretty major. So, like, to really bust this down for y'all, I want to say there's only 19 3 Michelin star restaurants in the United States, and I don't know how many of them have received it 11 years in a row. But the 3 Michelin star award is basically the defining best fucking restaurant you could find award, basically. So, and then they recently went all vegan in 2020, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's just amazing to see. And that was the big thing in that world. So now the fact that, you're collaborating with them is crazy, man. So how did that all come together?
Energy. I really want to say energy. Went to 11 Madison one day, and it was so high end and so hard to get in that one day I forgot I was supposed to go somewhere with my wife, and I just went to one of them apps. I think it's Talk. Yeah. Is Talk an app? Yeah, I went to Talk, and it happened to be open. I was supposed to do something good as a husband, and I didn't. Then I was like, you know what?
It was a get out of jail free card.
And I seen it. No, it was just like, let me do something good. And then I seen it, and I'm like, boom, let me just book it. And I honestly thought from, their high praise, if you're in the world and you know about them, it's like the only plant-based Michelin star restaurant. They get very high praises, very hard to get in. I just happened to book it. I caught it, just booked it, and I'm like, all right, we're going there. And we went there, and we had the best time. Like, it was so high-end that I thought it was a dress code. I wasn't dressed, and I went, and everybody was kind of dressy, so I went and apologized to the host. I'm like, I didn't mean to not come dressed up. And it was like, it's no dress code. And I'm like, it's no dress code. Everybody looks so nice. And then just from being there, meeting the staff, meeting Chef Hoom, and all his counterparts, we just immediately just clicked. And I believe when you live when you just live a lifestyle, I love Chef Hoom because he's very down to earth. Yeah. And he's about the movement and giving back to people. So we just had a good time. We connected. We stayed in touch, and we thought about something where we touch the whole plant-based world, because, like I said, people have a stigma when it comes to living healthy. They either think it's for tree huggers, granola people, extremely rich white people, or Caribbean black people. We start thinking we're not educated enough to live a healthy lifestyle, or you have to look a certain way or be a certain part. Like, I'm a firm believer that health is exactly for everybody. It shouldn't be put in a box. You shouldn't be worried about, like, as a plant-based person, I have to say, your first few years of being vegan, vegan people can come off very obnoxious. Like, let's be, you know what I mean? Yeah. Dead serious. They'll make you feel like you don't know enough. You're not fighting for the animals, and you're not saving the bees and the dolphins, and you got to wear onxes and have natural hair. You can't wear designer stuff, and
no deodorant.
It was like
the crystal shit.
It was like, it's so many boxes. And then when you start thinking as an individual, you shouldn't have to be put in a box to feel great. Nobody should be able to say you have to look like them, dress like them, talk like them, or be as educated as them to want better for yourself. And to work on balance. Balance just comes with being you and trying to find a better way to be you instead of worrying about what everyone else is saying. So having that in mind, it was like, I want to make sure that we get out that plant-based lifestyle is, I don't care if you're from the projects. I don't care if you're from a farm. I don't care if you know, where you're from, what you're doing. If you want to be healthy, even not even being plant-based, like a healthy lifestyle is for you. Like I'm a plant-based person, but I'm not the creator. I'm pretty sure when he made animals, he knew some of y'all was going to eat animals. So I've get out the point of being obnoxious and pushing my lifestyle on people and learn to get to the point of just saying, as a human being, we should all just want to spread good energy and do the best you can do to be the best you could be. And then that education comes with understanding. Most of us, everybody in here looks very fucking nice tonight, I may say. Think about how you took that time out to look nice. Think about how you know where your shirt's from, your pants from, your watch, your jewelry, your sneakers, your shoes. Think about your hygiene, how many times you wash the outside of your body. Then when you start thinking about the inside, we're not taught to take care of the inside the same way. So all of these things playing part in my head at once led me to be here. So the collaboration was to say this lifestyle and this eating plants and living plant-based is really for everybody, and you don't have to be put in a box. You could be from the Bronx, Yonkers, a poverty-stricken neighborhood. You could be from Beverly Hills, Scarsdale, the Hamptons, and be about that life. It's not for anyone in particular. Health is for everybody, and that word has to be spread. And it's not just about being plant-based, but it's just about, as people, we should want the best for other people. That's really the your inner soul. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I like nice shit. You know what I mean? I'm rather bougie, I must say. I like events like this. I like expensive things, but I'm also very grounded and rather help my people and people out, period, when it comes to just live in balance. So the collaboration comes of saying you could be a Michelin star chef and you could be from the hood and a rapper in hip hop, and you can have a connection if that energy is the same and you want the same for people. And why put it in a box, or why put yourself in a box? You're supposed to connect with people who's from your soul tribe, no matter where they're from. If you have the same belief systems, same goals, and you want the same thing, energy sort of manifest and put you in the right place with people who are doing the same things that you're doing. And that's how it came about.
That's ill.
And my wife saying this something great's gonna come about. I was like, shit, you're right. Like, you're right, my queen.
It's wild because like, and the dope thing is it's very accessible. Also, y'all make sure y'all can just Google it. It's super available online. 11 Madison Home. They also got some very good granola too. That shit is slapping.
The granola's crazy.
The granola's crazy.
It's crazy, the granola. Yeah.
So definitely, pick that
but
up.
But I was really amazed by them too, because it also taught me a valuable lesson and what I do and what I'm about. So to be around someone who's achieved a certain amount of success in a certain way, and to see them humble themselves and go about feeding homeless people, doing things of that nature, it kind of says, all right, I'm in the right place doing the right thing, and I'm around the right people. So shout out to Chef Home and the whole 11 Madison Park.
Nah, he's super ill, yo. He's ill.
Yes, he is.
Damn, man. Wow, that's crazy, yo. It's amazing to see how these worlds are coming together. I feel like it's a big part of like what we're trying to accomplish here today.
We ain't trying.
What we are accomplishing here today. But y'all know this is wine and hip hop, y'all. So we gotta get on some hip hop shit. We got some wine here. This is the pairing that I came up with today. So for today, we're gonna be drinking the Lafette Blanc, right? And this is from it's the guy that owns this brand is this dude I rocks with, my man Donae Burstone. and he is the first black man to own a winery in Provence.
Oh, that's
which
dope.
is super ill, super ill. He's partnered also with Chris Paul. So we pouring this tonight. Also, y'all also gonna get a chance to sip on this as well. But I thought of this pairing because one of the joints, I make a Black History playlist every year, and every year it ends off with Styles P, I'm black.
No doubt. No doubt.
And it always ends up, and it's just so dope because it's this sense of pride in embracing who you are and understanding you great for who you are. So I wanted to here, also, when I think of you, I think black entrepreneurship. You think everything that we talking about right now, it's out the box shit. Like, first of all, these is like the new Yankee hats, yo. This no bullshit.
Hey.
I've been wearing this shit every day since I bought it. You know what I'm saying? It costs more than the Yankee, but it's worth it. I promise you. Like,
it's rare.
It's so worth it, man. But like, I just love to see everything that you're doing and how you expand this shit, man. But it's wine and hip hop, so we gotta get into some rap shit.
Yeah, come on. Let's go.
So,
do we cheers?
Oh, we got a toast, man.
Hey, let's make a toast to greatness and health. Wine and hip hop forever.
Yes, sir. So, rap shit, man. All right, y'all, I'm gonna ask.
That's good.
You rock with it?
That is good.
Yo, nice, easy drinker. So the thing about this is,
this like, black owned?
Black owned, man.
Ooh.
Black owned,
feeling
baby.
That.
You know what I'm saying? And
am I holding it right?
So just hold. Who want to tell him? Who want to tell him? Who? All right, my man lied.
You gotta show me this.
So why should he be holding the stem?
So you don't warm the wine up.
Hey, yo, we got some.
Ooh.
So
holding the stem. See, I'm from the '80s. Holding the stem sound like crack. You gotta hold the stem. I'm fucking with you. But, so you don't warm the wine up.
Yeah. So this wine is coming to you at ideal serving temperature. So you gotta think.
So it's not this.
Think your body's about 100 degrees.
Why? I've seen a lot of rich people do this shit, and
they be tapping too.
Okay.
But yes.
Wait, you got to do red wine like that? But can I get this? I mean, I'm plant-based, but is white for like fish and poultry and red for steak?
Oh man. It's so all over the place. We can have a whole show about that.
See, I don't
like think about it this way.
I don't know.
Sometimes it's also situation, right? Like milk could be great in the winter, but it would suck in the summertime. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's situational where you.
What kind of milk?
I mean,
hope you mean Oda almond. Don't drink regular milk, y'all.
No regular milk.
Don't drink regular milk. I'll tell you that now. Holy shit, please.
But nah, man, and also like wines, no matter the color, have different textures. Some heavier, some are lighter. So all different things, man.
Do you swirl it before?
Most definitely
this, right?
Get you a nice
swirl and smell.
See, Styles know what's up. Styles be at them wine tastings too.
I've been at a few joints. Like I've been a Hennessy tasting, and they pulled out the expensive shit, and they called it Richard. I said, that's Richard. Rich people always pronounce the shit, throwing a little extra twang on it. It's the Richard Hennessy. How do you spell that? Man, that's Richard.
Yo, there's another one. There's a Burgundy producer, Loire. I see my man James back there. He know he be drinking that Loire. Yo,
Loire.
It looks like Leroy. No bullshit. I mean, yo, let me get the 98 Leroy right there.
Yeah, that's Leroy. Leroy.
Like the first 5-6 years of my career, I was calling that shit Leroy. No bullshit.
Leroy?
Like, okay. So
is it spelled Leroy?
Yeah, it's spelled Leroy.
Yeah, that's like it's like a white person named Tarek. It's Tark.
Oh man, but nah, rap shit, man. So we talk preparation, patience. I could not sit down with you and not talk to you about the versus battle. I have to. So here's the thing with the versus battle. Personally, I feel like it's the greatest moment ever in hip hop. That Dipset Locks battle, hands down. And I'll tell you why. Yeah, y'all clap on that one. I'll tell you why. So prior to that, I felt like the Jay-Z Summer Jam screen was the best moment because that shit was just crazy. Like he brought out Michael Jackson after that. It was just too much. Like for what it meant. I remember getting that fucking K-Slay tape where before Takeover was out and you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think about what that moment was, and that's something that's hard to top because it was so natural. It was right there, it was right. And it was ill because it was like no bloodshed over it. It was nothing, but it was real. It was aggressive. It was fucking hip hop. It was the battle. And Dipset and the Lox brought that back. And it was even more peace, and it was even more brotherly love. But it was chippy as fuck.
It's chippy, man.
You know, but it was still love,
it gets
though.
chippy,
You know what
definitely.
I'm saying? But it was all, and you
love
could tell
those. Those are our
love.
brothers.
Exactly. You could tell it was love. But I liked the way that y'all didn't hold back. Like, it was really like a boxing match almost.
Yeah, for sure.
It had that energy. It felt like that. Even did you look at people in the audience? It felt like motherfuckers felt like they was front row at like Frank Lucas at the fight type shit. You know, that was the vibes it gave off.
Yeah, it was a lot
and you
of
think
energy.
about how many times in your lifetimes a moment like that happened in history that you could say you watched on TV and saw, or like when that moment happened, there wasn't no cameras and shit. I heard the K-Slay tape and I was hyped. So all that said, but I think the thing that the outcome was something that I felt was gonna happen. I felt that was gonna be the outcome, and I thought that because like I know the Lox performance game is crazy, and so much of that versus shit is performance, picking songs, understand how to work the crowd. Dipset's amazing, but it's just also they're not as they're all very separate and they're not as in sync as you three. Yeah. You know, so coming in, I was like, okay, I kind of saw that this was gonna happen, but like so much of that is preparation, right? I mean, at least I thought for me, it looked like y'all prepared for fucking years. Obviously you had just by rocking, but can you tell me about like, once the moment y'all signed and knew that y'all were doing that, what was your preparation like from there on?
To put it in use the preparation that we do, done for our whole lives, but just throw a little focus on it. It was like if you stay on a hamster wheel doing something, and this applies to regular life. Like sometimes in life, not just in period in life, you do something and you don't, I guess, you know, how do you put it? Flowers, or people don't give you your flowers or your accolades or your just due, and you bust your ass at something. Sometimes you just gotta keep working at busting your ass and know it's gonna come. Like, you know what I mean? And for us, it was more so we didn't expect the results to be like that because prior to, no versus results were like that. It was more of us looking at verses, seeing what happened, and as a group going in, we're gonna, even more so than worrying about beating Dipset, because no one had really won a versus from there. It's just you leave with saying who you thought won, and you still love each other. You still love who you love. But for us, it was more so analyzing what happened with all the verses before us, watching how everybody else went in, and going in saying we want to show the kids our craft, what we really do, what we've been doing since we got here. Like, we know our shit. If you ever been to a Lox show, you know we know our shit. If you ever seen us work in the studio, you know we're passionate about it. We're passionate about the craft. So it was just about showing craftsmanship to the youth, which was our really main focus, in having a crowd understand what it takes to do this. Because even watching the other verses, no disrespect to the other artists, but they put in so much work, but they make it look cool to the point where you don't understand how much work they put in. Yeah. We wanted to kind of show people the work that if we grab a mic, we get on the stage, we're gonna perform. It's the same show, same shit doing a regular show. It's always a bunch of dope artists on the bill, and you don't want to get on that stage and not give the crowd their money's worth. We do that as a group, and all of us do it as solo artists. So if you paid to see me, whether it was a whole arena or this amount of people in this room, I'm gonna give the same amount of energy and percent work wise. I'm gonna do my best to give 110%, so you could leave saying I enjoy myself. That person respects their craft. They go hard with it, and just watch what we do. So we had really just planned to show the work. Show the work more than anything. Show kids what it's like to actually be able to perform what you're doing. Not just have the record play and look cool doing it.
The
like
breath
we
control ain't
know
easy.
this.
That breath control ain't easy, man.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's
Yo,
not.
I heard somebody said the best way to train is like spit your verse while running on the treadmill.
Yeah, it is. I mean, even as an MC, cardio is very important because you are getting on stage. So, like a lot of MCs, they do a lot of, they do a lot in the booth. Even as MCs, like most people don't know what this means, but we don't punch. So that means if I didn't get that verse when I'm going into the studio and I could get to 95% of it and fuck up, I got to go all the way back until we get it to that 100%. Wow. So even with that being said, that's like, it's certain things as an MC people don't know or people don't see. Like that's called the craftsmanship. That's where working on your craft comes in to go, all right, we have rehearsal now. We ran through 20-something songs, but shit, 4 of them wasn't great. Let's get these 4. Let's get this down packed, and then we're all pushing each other to make sure we get to that point. Like, you know what I mean? And that right there is where the craft comes in, and you caring about your craft. Just that comes with anything you do. I don't care what field of work it is in life. The person who does great is the person who puts in the work with their craftsmanship. And sometimes you don't get your flowers or accolades early. Sometimes you don't even get it when you're alive. There's people who've done great things in life and haven't gotten them flowers or accolades till they passed on, and then people got to see how meaningful what they were doing was. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? So, we're grateful to get it this lifetime. So that's cool.
Like I said, man, that was, I personally think that was the greatest moment in hip hop, man, because the battle is so important to hip hop. Stayed like all of it. It had all of the elements,
And nobody been outside for a while since then. that had a lot to do with it. The energy. I mean, with it being New York City, and plus, I felt like all the other verses were, although it involved New Yorkers in New York versus New York sometime, this was New York versus New York in a bigger magnitude showing for the world, like, you know what I mean? And everybody had been inside. COVID changed our lives around in a major way, which a lot of us still probably won't even process till a few years down the line. Like, everything has really changed, and that's how, why certain moments become special in life because they come at certain times where it was needed. And I think more so the battle was kind of needed for that time in hip hop, and probably the rest of them were kind of on a softer note, a more calmer note.
You know what I mean? The Jeezy and Gucci one, that has some. Yeah, that was tough. Had some elements to it.
That was tough. Definitely, that was tough.
That shit. There was a point I see some niggas shifting on the side of the stage.
That was definitely tough.
I knew that side of the stage shift where it's like, let me. You know what I mean? There was
that definitely was tough.
There was some moments there. You know what I mean? But that was definitely an ill moment. But like I listened to even like your last album, the Wolf joint.
Con Wolf is still a wolf.
The bar work on there, you could tell like how seriously you still take your craft. Like, what keeps you excited? You know what I'm saying? When you getting in the booth.
I love my craft. Words are powerful. Some of the most powerful things on the planet is the way we communicate, express love, war, hate, fear, enjoyment, communicating. So just to be able to reach people through words means a lot for me. It's also my personal therapy. I'm half batshit crazy. You know what I mean? So I think I love rhyming. I've always loved it my whole life. So to be able to make a living off of playing with words, and to be able to touch people and share energy through words. It keeps you in a certain place, and it's brought me to everywhere I've been in life, to be honest with you. Yeah. You know, so I'm grateful to be in the craft. As a youth, especially coming from Yonkers, when we got on, nobody had ever came from Yonkers. So to hear, you know, the 5 boroughs shouted out, and to be neighbors with Mount Vernon, God bless the dead, they had Heavy D. New Rochelle had the Brand Nubians. Yonkers, we had DMX, which was a legend. God bless my brother. Word. Before he even got on. Word. But we wasn't on at the time. So you hear everyone getting shouted out all over, and it kind of put a chip on our back to say, you know, we're going to make it. And then to actually make it and to have the world embrace you, it's always giving me the drive to keep going. You know, that was my second to last solo album. My next one will be, I'm not quitting, but I'm definitely laying back as a solo artist. So wordplay is major for me. As hip-hop has evolved and going on and grew bigger and got into multiple different genres, lyricism may not as be important to the world as it used to be, but I think lyricists keep it in their heart to stay lyrical and provide that, knowing that. So I'm just a passionate guy, and it's all about the catalog. When you leave, I always wanted to be able to say I've had a hell of a catalog when I go out. So my time here, I worked on making sure I had a hell of a catalog.
So do you feel like you got do you still see a few more holes in that catalog you want to fill?
Yeah, I'm gonna make my last. Not really, but not really, to be honest with you. I felt, to be honest, I feel for my age group and the people who came in, if you look at my body of work, I'm not talking about the accolades from it or how much it sold, how much it didn't sell, but just of laying out a body of work, I felt I've laid out more than enough. I don't know how many. I think I have 17 solo albums. Lord knows how many mixtapes. I probably have the most collabs as a solo artist. So I want to do other things in my life. I have, Juices for Life. I have Pharmacy for Life. I wrote one fiction novel. I want to write a few more. My partners, Poobs, and myself, we write scripts. So there's other things I want to do. So I felt I've done enough, and I'm just retiring as a solo artist, but I'm still make locks music and collab music. But I feel I've done enough, to be honest with you. And the shit is like, I feel like I put a ton of work in. Like, so there's a few more things I want to do, and but I'm a firm believer in going out on your own terms, not on other people's terms. And I'm not I don't feel the need to do too much more as a solo artist. Yeah. I feel now I have the need to grow as an individual, as an entrepreneur, as a person in the health field. I want to keep growing. And to make solo albums, it takes a lot. For me, it takes a lot. And just to be
you
on...
You still do 3-verse songs.
I still do, yeah.
Like, people gave up. Like, people just do 2 verses now.
So I still, well, the 2 verses come from because people are trying to fit the algorithm nowadays. Yeah. Like, a lot of things have to do with the algorithm, how social media works, how fast the world works. The average person, you probably, like if you're a young dude, you're making an album right now, you probably want to keep it 35 minutes and under. It has a replay value. You get through it quick. I would say even 28 minutes to 30 minutes, but I'm going to stretch and go 35. But that's why people don't do third verses, because the attention span of people and how much art comes out is much shorter than it used to be. Like, besides even the album length, think about it, depending on your age group. When I was younger, you would wait years for artists to come out.
Facts.
Like, and be waiting and wait for them to come. Now artists, a person you may... It could be the greatest album of right now. Somebody's playing that shit for a month.
Yeah.
and then moving on. Like, you know what I mean? You could drop an album. If I dropped a new album today, right under my timeline, there's gonna be at least 50 people going, when's the next one? I just dropped this shit today. Bro, when's the next one? How many times did you play it? Like, so I think the algorithm on how fast things are working force people to shorten the music up and make people pay attention to it and get the replay value. But that's all kind of shit why I want to retire too. Yeah. I ain't thinking about that kind of shit. I'm a do that third verse. If I feel it, I'm doing it. I'm gonna do what I want creative wise. So, you know, and it's about understanding how fortunate enough I've been. Like, you know, like I said, you compare my catalog to a lot of people my age. I'm lapping a lot of dudes or double lapping a lot of dudes. But also I'm 48, to say I've been relevant since my 20s is a blessing. You know what I mean? So I'm going to now
I could clap for that. Yeah.
You know, direct where I'm spending my time, especially that I'm doing other things now in life. Yeah. You know?
So I got to say, man, like, so, and I'm glad to be chopping up with you. I got one question. I want to take a few questions from the audience. But my son is 16, right? I remember when I was 16, you know, driving around Mount Vernon, listening to Locks, doing stupid shit. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Basically, that's really what's, you know what I'm saying? In a sob.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Riding by Mount Vernon High School.
You was riding good.
Yeah. But you know, I think about what the subject matter was that I was a part of, like, you know, the things we did at that time. And my son now, the age when I was listening to that shit and I started moving around and doing things, you know, and I have my opinion on it. I know how I have to talk to him about that stuff. And,
yeah.
But how do you wrap your head around the artist of today and the subject matter? Like, even understanding like all the shit I just said, right? Me and my son listen to Nardo Wick, and I'm cringing. Like, you know, I'm like, damn, it's just rough. But at the end of the day, that's what I'm listening to anyway. You know what I'm saying? So
it's a different time and put in a different way. And then you have to look at how times are. Like, people often ask me how I feel about today's subject matter and how I feel about the artists. It's really how you handle your household as an individual and how you handle your life and how you handle your relationships, because everyone's relationship is not the same to lay out a basis of how to go. I don't particularly know how you communicate with your son, but it's best to communicate on an open accord. Like, people ask me how I feel about drill, and I go, well, my generation is responsible for that. I think a lot of people, we look at the younger generation, we don't quite understand them all the time, and we pass judgment along. Like I tell you, I try to practice, I work on practice and balance as much as possible. So before I even start judging the kids who just make the drill music, I get to looking at the whole picture and go, am I judging the radio also? Am I judging the record label also? Am I judging, you know, people who came from my era? Am I judging Instagram, Twitter, and all the things these kids have to deal with, and what looks hot? Because it's even beyond music, because sometimes we as brown folks too, we put ourselves in a box that other people put us in without looking at the whole world, without looking at what's the latest movies and how is it moving the kids, what's the latest video game, how is it moving the kids. So it's more so looking at time and everything that's happening, even besides gangster shit. Let's just, like, I would cringe right now if I wouldn't know what to do as a father right now if I had little ones, because everything is hypersexual nowadays more than when I grew up. Everything's hyper everything now. So it's kind of like, how do you play the balancing act? One is you have to observe the time period you're in, what's going on, and then figure out how to communicate and how to get certain things across. Like, even so, there's times where you know, I could, as much as I've grown and as much as I've done, and there's certain people who's still going to see '96 styles and think that's who they're relating to. '98, 2000. Like, there's some people who don't grow with you or understand that you're growing, and they see one thing. So you have to even figure out how to communicate with those people, let alone your own household, your own kids. So it's just about having open communications and knowing what's going on in the world, and kind of playing a fine balancing act of what do you do as a parent, like, you know what I mean? And when I came up, you was either on pot or alcohol.
Yeah.
Now kids is on lean pills, all kind of certain shit. I came from an era where you was scared to be a druggie. Yeah. Now we're in an era where it's cool to be a druggie. So even with this nowadays, parents have to learn to navigate in a new way. Because it's not the same things that we faced or the parents of years ago faced. It's a whole new beast. So you have to really just go about the times and go understand why the kids are the way they are, why they're doing the things they do, and then also introduce them to new shit so they see the balance. Like that's where it all comes in play, because when you introduce them to balance and other things, it sort of works. Like me as a thank God to my wife, and myself. We said when we were raising our kids, we was gonna do better than our parents did. We was gonna work on doing better, which every generation is supposed to do. So shit changes, you got to change along with it. But you also want to be able to communicate with your son and your daughter and have them be honest with you. Right. Like, one thing I've always been grateful for, my mom always told me, even when I was younger, I don't care what you do. I don't care how bad it's going to be. Don't be afraid to communicate and tell me.
Tell me what it is.
Like, you know what I mean? Tell me what it is, and we'll figure it out together. So I kind of always cherish that. And, thank God to have South African moms. But,
With that, on the opposite side, though, like, what do you tell those artists that, feel the pressure of fitting in and, relating to that?
Fuck other people. Fuck what other people think. Basically, you got to teach your kid early, artists, kid, children, family, fuck what they think. If you know it's not right, go with your gut, follow your brains, follow the good people that work for you. A lot of us, especially nowadays, like, I feel the pressure the pressure this generation has on it is much more than the pressure my generation had on it, because I didn't have Instagram, I didn't have Twitter coming up, I didn't even have a fucking when I was coming up, you had to yell at the window or knock on the door and go, "Hey, Miss Such and Such, can such and such come out?" Now you could just reach anyone. So these kids, they're dealing with the pressure of their immediate friends, their school, their immediate environment when they step out the door, and Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, or whatever new shit there is. They got all of that shit in one. So the plate we had, it's like quadruple their plate. So you have to teach them early, I guess, to be confident in themselves, confident in doing the things they want to do, be confident in growing and enjoying yourself, and be willing to say, fuck what society is saying if I know that's not for me. Like, you know what I mean? Be comfortable in being yourself.
Right. Wow. Well, I gotta get some questions from the audience. I'll take 3 questions. I seen the hand right there go up first. T, can you ask that?
If you weren't doing music, what do you think you'd be doing professionally?
So he asked just so everybody at home, if he wasn't doing music, what would you be doing professionally?
Well, I sell herbs and oil professionally, pharmacy for life. I sell juices professionally.
Let me back up. Picture yourself before you got your record deal. Let's imagine no record.
I would say I wrote a fiction novel because I see myself as being creative. Writing movies or writing books. Like I said, I love words. I love imagination. I love creativity. So I think if it wasn't rap, that would have been it. Writing books and writing scripts.
Okay, on the right here.
I didn't know that you had a South African mom.
Yep.
So I'm curious about your connection to the diaspora.
With what?
I'm curious about your connection to the continent.
Well, I've been, and it was the most beautiful experience I've ever had in my life. I feel I'm an African in America, not just an African American. My contributions is to be connected to that continent as well as this country, and respect how I love, whether you want to call it black people, brown people, people of color, and just the amazingness that we have with us. And then just being understanding that a lot of us don't even connect, especially over here. I feel like a lot of us don't teach our children, whether you're African and have direct blood or not. We're all African. I don't care if you're white, you have African DNA. You don't believe me? Look it up. African DNA is in everybody. So I just believe, as far as the continent, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful place, and the amount of wealth, minerals, natural elements makes it one of the greatest places in the world, and that's why we should all honor our connection to it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, up front on the left.
Hi.
Hey.
So you talked about, living in the hood and like being vegan. What would you say are like your top 3 vegan meals or vegan foods that you would give to somebody who doesn't live in the affluent area?
Well, I feel all of us eat vegan food but don't really pay attention to it. The sides on your plate are vegan. If you don't put butter on it, it's nothing in it. Like, a lot of us look at vegan and plant-based. I don't say I'm vegan, I say I'm plant-based because I intend to be as one day I intend to be as graceful, and worldly as Dick Gregory. I'm not there yet. I'm still passionate about, I haven't grown that much yet. I'm working on it. So I say I'm plant-based because obviously I still wear leather. I'm not fighting for the dolphins and the bees. I intend to one day, but for right now, I'm working on spreading the information throughout our community and just working on being as healthy as possible. And I feel there should be equality amongst people. Like, I feel there's groups for animals. Like, shout out to Peter. Shout out to Humane Society for the pets. Shout out to them. But think about when I go to these events, I love what they're doing, but I also cringe because I'm going, as a person of color, if you're white, the only thing that's different between us is our DNA and our skin pigment. But we both have 10 toes, 10 fingers, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth, 1 nose. But humans tend to relate to other shit more than they do with other humans. So I'm not there with being a vegan yet. So I say I'm plant-based, but I think most of us don't know, like peanut butter and jelly is plant-based. Your French fries are plant-based. Your brown rice is plant-based. Your broccoli is plant-based. Your collard greens plant-based. Your kale is plant-based. Your sweet potatoes plant-based, as long as you don't throw butter on it and grease and whatever the fuck they call that shit, lard, whatever. So a lot of us do eat plants, but we look at it like being vegan is some totally different. I'm just not eating anything that's swimming, crawling, walking, fucking, and farting. To be honest with you, you know what I mean? But there's many meals that I say, brown rice, veggies, peanut butter, avocado, sweet potatoes, almonds, fries, cashews, brown rice pasta. If you have once you get out the meat territory, there's ways to prepare mushrooms to basically taste like, whether you want a steak taste, you can make mushrooms taste like steak. You want a fish taste, you can make mushrooms taste like fish. You want a chicken taste, you can make mushrooms taste like chicken. So there's a lot you could do with mushrooms that we, as people of color and brown people, we're getting more hip, but we got to get a lot more hip. There's a lot of things you could do with a lot of plants and veggies to get a good taste. It's just about doing it. And I don't push the lifestyle on anybody. Like I would say, whoever eats meat, chicken, or dairy, just make sure it's hormone free. Make sure it's no antibiotics. Make sure I look at it like, all right, I may not know where a kale or a sweet potato, because even eating a plant-based, living a plant-based lifestyle, if you're not growing it yourself, you're still subject to pesticides, to them spraying shit, to shit being fucked up, to them growing shit in the lab. There's a lot of unhealthy vegans, to be honest with you. Processed food is not great for you. You shouldn't be eating things you can't spell or pronounce. A bunch of shit in it. But as long as you start working on a balance and start doing a knowledge of what you're putting in your system, things become better in life. So that's how I pretty much look at it. So just investigate what you're eating. Try to wash your insides as much as you wash your outsides. Like, anybody in here got a dog or a cat? Raise their hands. Y'all the petlessest crowd I've ever seen in my fucking life. But think about it. You walk your dog twice a day, right? To make sure your dog shits twice a day. If you have a cat and you see the cat litter empty, you're gonna kind of bug out after a while. Yeah. But humans don't even make sure they shit enough. Some of us don't make sure our kids shit enough. And y'all laughing, but the shit is the waste. Shit is the actual waste in your body. So you're not supposed, like when you eat food, your body's supposed to take the nutrients and the good shit out the food. Then it goes to your intestines, the small, the large, all that shit, flushes it out and dumps the waste. If you're not dumping the waste, where's the waste going? And that's where the toxins build up. And that's why some of y'all have shitty attitudes. No, but seriously, we got to make sure we're taking enough dumps. You got to make sure you're sweating, you're sleeping, you're stretching, and you're being the best you could be. That doesn't come with being a vegan or a gym rat or none of that. Just work on that balance one day at a time. One little step at a time. Do something good for yourself every day. You know what I mean? Because what if you're doing 10 fucked up things? You got to at least do 2 good things to kind of then eventually get to 5. Then eventually you may do more good things than bad things, hopefully. But if not, at least get to doing a few good things for yourself.
Right. All right, we got one more question, then we out of here. Let me see. The in the back had a hand up first. Back line. Yep, right there.
We're going to do both. Yep. We got a little time.
We're going to do both. All right, so.
First, I want to say, y'all are doing a great job as, Black men just owning where you've decided to branch out to that's not traditional to our community. You're almost 100 episodes in. You're 13 years vegan, so cheers to that. I did want to ask you, food is very much correlated to love in Black households. When my mom is not that happy with my dad, she might not put her foot in that meal. So I'm curious, how did you approach being vegan with your extended family, going to those cookouts and even the sensitivity of some people's rejection or objection of the meals you
I don't think in life, not just being plant-based, but whatever you do, I don't think it's cool for you to worry about what other people think. It's good to stand on what you believe in and stand firm on it and enjoy what you're doing in life and the stage you're at in life. And people are going to either reject it or accept it and embrace it. But it came to a point where, especially doing shows, I remember one day, this was even before I was plant-based. From 03 to 13, I was a vegetarian. So I just ate fish and vegetables, but everything. I'm plant-based by a total mistake, to be honest with you. From 03, I got out of the Gangsta and a Gentleman, came out about 02, did a county bid. I came out and I was like, I'm not eating chicken anymore. I'm going to just be a vegetarian. But every Thanksgiving I ate with my family. And Thanksgiving of 13, I got sick. So New Year's Eve of 13, I said I'm going on a 3-week fast. No cheese doodles, no byproducts, no anything. And I just never went back. I was like, I felt so good. And then it more so than health-wise, but I did have eczema, sinusitis. I was overweight, bad temper. It changed all of that. And for me, that felt good. But the more important part was it changed me spiritually somehow. I started having more concern and value for other people's lives. So then I was like, oh, now I'm sticking with it. And I never let anybody else's feelings or how they felt kind of change me. And I remember one day being somewhere and I told somebody I don't eat chicken. It was deep down south. She's like, you okay, baby? Oh, my God. It was like I was an alien for not eating chicken. And then I understood, though, also by that a lot of us, especially people of color, when you look at the numbers for high blood pressure, diabetes, heart attacks, stomach conditions, kidney stones, almost everything with people of color, we're overwhelmingly in the majority of getting shit the most. And why is that? It's because the things we're eating. So I didn't let what other people was thinking or the pushback kind of affected me. I kind of just kept pushing forward. And then as you keep pushing forward, you bump into more people that are like you, and it makes it a little more comfortable.
Now we had one question up here. Yeah.
Thank you. So a lot of us that grew up listening to the Locks, we're getting on in years, and I find a lot of people our age are listening to different types of music because the game today feels very different than it did 20 years ago. I'm curious what music you're listening to, what rappers you're fucking with right now. How do you feel about that?
I love the game. As a music person, I try to take in I work on taking in a lot of new shit, but I also cherish all type of music now. If you look at my top 25 most played songs on my phone, which I showed a brother, none of them are rap. Wow. So also as a grown man, when I get home, I say I'm a family man, I'm a businessman. So when I get home, I'm barely even dealing with music. I'm putting on TV, enjoying film, Nat Geo, Discovery. But I like Scarlett. I like Lola Brooks. I love Griselda. I love the youth. But I'm also Marvin Gaye, Curtis Mayfield, James Brown, Billy Idol, Aerosmith. I'm all over the place music wise because music keeps you growing, and I like to deal with the future and the past and go back and just listen to what moves me. Sometimes I listen to shit I totally don't understand what they're saying. Every time I get in a car service, like when they go to change the station, I tell them, leave it on. Whatever you listen to, leave it. So with music-wise, I don't really get caught up into too much. Like, even so, there's a lot of music I don't like that's new, but I have to understand I'm 48 and I'm from a certain time period. So, as long as them young people are making money and changing lives and bringing people with them, I embrace it, whether I like it or not, because some of the shit I have no idea what they're talking about. It's crazy, but I directly have a job in hip-hop. Guaranteed 90% of this room knows more about today's hip-hop than me. You know what I mean? When it comes to the youth, I just like to listen to everything and what's going on and saying, okay, but I dive into life, period, music-wise now and everything, and just say I embrace everything that's going on. But I do I like Simba too a lot. Yeah. He got bars. If someone has bars and I hear it, I love bars. Like the other shit, certain shit I have no idea what they're saying. No idea. I can't even figure it out.
Nah, I ain't gonna front. When I realized, I'm like, yo, this like really like bars. When I peeped that you and Dave East dropped that
yeah,
album,
for sure.
I'm like, yo, this dude just like rapping, son. Like,
yeah, if you got bars, I love it.
Yeah,
like if you like, I heard the Scarlett joint the other day. I was like, oh.
Does she remind you of X?
She reminds me of herself.
Okay.
She reminds me of someone who listened to X and listened to greats of the past, but I think she has some of her own.
Yeah, nah, she
definitely got the X energy.
Yo, there was one day, 3 different people from wide different places in my life. 3 people sent me her joint. Yo, Shorty right here. Tiana right here.
Yeah.
She was one of them. She was like, yo, Shorty right here.
Yeah, she going hard.
It was just
that old feeling.
yeah, man.
It's that old feeling.
I'm excited to see what she comes.
It's that old feeling. But yeah, I feel like especially like a lot of people, and especially, you know what's crazy about hip hop? Most people don't look at where people from hip hop pull from. Like people don't really look at how nerdy MCs are, because a lot of us are from the streets, so you're not really understanding that a lot of MCs pull from, like, I love what I like to call, I love 80s cokehead music. The shit that the cokeheads was listening to in the 80s is like the most awesome music ever, and it plays a lot. It plays a lot of hip hop, like, you know what I mean? Scarface, listening to the Scarface soundtrack is like amazing.
Nah, that's a fact, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. All right, my last question, man. I gotta ask. I could not. Who is your top 5 dead or alive, man?
Oh, don't do that to me.
Nah.
Don't do that to me, man.
Just to make it interesting.
Don't do that to me.
I got though. And look. Here's the disclaimer. My top 5 changes twice an hour.
Mine's changed, but I like to say even it's different top 5s for different eras. Like, you know what I mean?
Important.
What I call the grandmasters of what we do would be Rakim, Kool G, Kane, KRS. They birthed all of everyone's top 5. Whether that goes to Big, Nas, Mobb Deep, ourselves, Wu, yada, yada, yada. Whether then that translates to whether you get to Weezy, J. Cole, Kendrick, Drake, whatever, whoever you're saying it all, I feel it, you know. And then you can't leave Run DMC out. You can't leave Public Enemy. Then it's Stetsasonic, Ultramagnetic, De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest, NWA. So it's hard to say what's top 5, but I always consider the grandmasters of what we do to be the 4 gentlemen I named, along with Chuck D. For me, like, you know what I mean. Those are who birthed all of the favorites, like, you know what I'm saying. Then you got it's so many, man. Hip hop, like hip hop is such a beautiful genre that it's incredible. Like, you know what I mean. If you look from back then to now, it's changed the world in such a way that it's even hard to just say 5 people. Like, you know what I mean. This is a beautiful thing we have. It's a lot of beautiful artists. It's a lot of people who have impacted lives. Then it's people who impact you in different ways, like Slick Rick. You know what I'm saying? It's the Jungle Brothers. It's just so many different people that have done different things. Cypress Hill, Big Pun, Big L.
Gotta say.
You know, it's X. Like, how do you? Yeah. Especially when you live a life of hip hop, you kind of live by the moment. So you kind of, as years go on, you remember certain things that did certain things for you at certain time periods. So I like to stay away from the list, but I always like to pay homage to the grandmasters.
Of course. Yeah, like that question is such a, like, it's one of them things that kind of lets you know what powers some people, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the things that are your favorites are so much of like where we take from and build our personality.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I remember thinking rap couldn't get any better after hearing like Rakim, KRS, Kool G, and Kane. I didn't even think, but look what they spawned. They spawned the Nas's, the Biggies, the Hoves, the Mobb Deeps, the us. Like, so rap just keeps growing and growing. Then there's always some ill generation of lyricists that are just kind of like crazy.
Doing no shit, man. Well, here you have
it's
it.
It's the most wine I've drunk in years. It's a good wine right here. What's the name of this?
This is the Lafette Blanc.
I do a lot of things wrong. Don't worry about it.
Yo, but look, man, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you joining us here today. I cannot summarize that on this stage.
Thank you.
This is absolutely legendary.
Thanks for having me. It's been dope.
You know, I hope you all had a great time as well. You know what I'm saying? So One time, y'all, let's hear for Mr. Styles P the Ghost.
Yeah.
Salute. Cheers, man.